Good evening. Welcome to Grandma's Attic Music Review. It's a joy to be with you again, and Happy New Year. What a blessing to be here, able to bring you some of the best music of the area. I am thrilled that it's my job. I love the fact that you people watch and listen and are going out to the live shows that we talk about. So tonight, we're going to hear from probably one of the most talked about best guitar players in the area. You hear about him a little bit here and there, but people don't talk about him as much as he deserves. But tonight we're going to talk about him. We're going to hear his music. You're going to love it. And then you're going to hear where all he's going to be playing so that you can get out there and see him live, because you'll see, he's amazing. So help me welcome into your home, Chris Leigh.
Nothing.
Oh,
Oh, I'm going to play more?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're going to play 35 minutes more.
Okay. Oh, I see. I thought we were going to talk now.
Oh, no, you're
All
going to play, then we'll talk.
Okay.
And that will be awesome.
All right. So that last song was Satin Doll by Duke Ellington. This next song is another standard called Body and Soul. right, I'd like to play a blues for you. This is something that I wrote. It's called Comet Blues. Thank you.
Good stuff.
Okay, this next piece I want to play for you is another standard. It's called My Favorite Things. Thank you. All right, the next tune I want to do for you is by Stevie Wonder. It's called Isn't She Lovely? Okay, this next tune I'm going to play for you is called The Days of Wine and Roses. One more? Okay. Okay, this last tune is by Jobim. It's called Corcovado.
Now you can come over and I'll
Okay.
talk to you.
It's okay now.
While Chris is coming over, I just want to remind you all that we are in the dead of winter and that you have neighbors and community, and we need to take care of our neighbors. If your neighbors are elderly or have little children, just check and make sure that they have heat, make sure that the kids have socks on their feet, make sure that your neighbors have food in their fridge. It's just what neighbors are supposed to do. Let's keep our community strong and help one another along. We're going to talk to Chris now. I'm really excited about this. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Welcome to Grandma's Attic.
Hi, Dot.
I'm so glad to have you here. I could absolutely sit and listen to your music all night. All night.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
It's pure and it's real. And it moved me to tears. So we won't even go there. I get too emotional sometimes. Chris, when did you actually know that you needed to play music?
I think I was a freshman in high school, and I had been playing in the school band. Had been playing the trumpet, and
Nice.
I knew I always liked music through that. My grandfather had played in the Coast Guard band, and
Nice.
and that was sort of the family instrument. And my grandmother was also a musician, a singer, and a pianist. They both grew up here in New London and played, locally, in the 30s and 40s and stuff before they had a family,
I wonder if they played at the L&G, because the L&G back in the 30s and 40s was the happening place.
I know that my grandfather played at the Mohegan Hotel,
Nice.
back during the swing era and
Wow.
stuff like that.
Wow.
So it was part of my family. My mom also was a singer. She sang in a country band. So I grew up around music and bands and musicians and the life, a little bit, so to speak. And but up until the point when I was about 14, 15 years old, I was really into sports, and I had an epiphany. I got together with some friends of mine. There was a lot of kids in my neighborhood where I grew up that played music, that played instruments, and I would go over and I would just stand and watch, and just, I was just, I don't know, it was something I wanted to be a part of. It was just so amazing to me.
Right.
So I ended up starting off by playing bass guitar. I got my first bass at Caruso's on Bank Street, in New London, when they had the old store.
I know.
Got a Fender bass and an amp, and started playing in some some bands with friends, and it was when you're 15 years old, you're playing garages and backyard parties and stuff.
Absolutely.
The guitar player in our band decided to pursue something else, so it was just me and the drummer left. And he said, "We're going to get to play the guitar." I said, "Well, my sister takes guitar lessons. I bet she could, show me some of the stuff, she's doing in her lesson." So, so basically, I co-opted her little yard sale nylon string guitar and started checking out some of the things that she was learning in her lessons, and I learned how to play the guitar. And
without lessons.
I ended up taking some lessons after a while at the, if you remember Ron's Guitars.
I do.
Back in the mid '80s, they were down in across from Norm's Diner and stuff in Groton.
Right, in Groton.
Bridge Street.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
And that's where my sister took lessons, and that's how I got to know the Apicellis. And Ron was my first teacher.
Wow.
And so I took lessons with Ron, as a 14 and 15-year-old kid, and that lasted for a little while. And when I was in high school, I took some lessons at Thames Valley School of Music at Conn College.
Up at Conn College.
Still
in business.
Oh, absolutely. I have a connection with them. After I took some lessons there with Jim McNeish, classical lessons, the whole idea was I knew that I wanted to pursue it in school.
Okay.
But I knew that I couldn't pursue heavy metal, and that's what I was into. I was into rock and metal and progressive rock and stuff as a kid, and I would need to do something that was could fit into the academic world essentially. So I loved classical guitar, and so I started taking lessons with Jim McNeish, who's still there. He's still the guitar teacher at Connecticut College.
Right.
He prepared me for an audition, and I went to school. I ended up eventually transferring to Connecticut College and finished my degree there, actually, with Jim as my teacher.
That's wonderful.
So it was kind of a full circle thing where I started with him, as a kid, and ended up, graduating from there as my teacher.
Well, there were some other important people along the line. Tell us a little bit about your experience with Sal.
Sal Salvador was just a wonderful guy to start with. I mean, you know, his reputation, you know, sort of preceded him. You know, as I was looking at wanting to take some jazz guitar lessons, you know, I had been told that, you know, he had played with the Stan Kenton Orchestra, and you know, he played with Sonny Stitt, and so all of these really famous jazz musicians, and he you know had a name in that whole world.
He really did.
And so, you know, I went into my first lesson expecting it to be, you know, a little more, I don't know, solemn, and he was just a funny guy, just cracking jokes, and very encouraging. He really focused on reading, learning tunes, learning the standards, and you know, he basically had us get a stack of books like this tall, you know, that we were
Of music books.
Yeah, we were all working out of, in addition to what other projects he gave to us for tunes to learn. And so, I mean, you know, all of the guitar students just loved him, you know, and I would just show up early sometimes to see the guy that took a lesson before me play with Sal, because he was an older guy. I think he was going for his music ed degree or something, or master's or something, but he was still taking lessons with Sal. And so I would go in and I would sit down and I would just watch him play tunes at the end of his lesson.
Right. What an experience that must have been.
Oh, I mean, you know, I wish I could jump back in the time machine, you know, and sort of just observe some of the conversations and the things, you know, from that time period, because it was special, and I got it back then, but even more so now, you know.
I get that. So you went from being taught by some of the greats, and you decided that you needed to keep playing music, and that music was going to become your life. Where did you go from Conn College?
Well, I ended up taking a year just to, you know, sort of play. I was sort of transitioning, you know, out of that, you know, been in school thing for 12 years, you know.
Right.
I wasn't sure, you know, exactly what my path was. A lot of my friends were going to grad school. I wasn't really, like, you know, ready to commit to more school at that point.
Right.
So I was still teaching lessons. You know, what started as guitar lessons with Ron at Ron's Guitars became a job, and he ended up hiring me. So I'd been teaching there.
He must have seen something in you as a guitar player then.
He was very encouraging. He always was. He went the extra step, at least in my experience with me. I mean, when I was in high school, my band in high school played at homecoming.
Nice.
And it was a bunch of guys that just put something together. And I had just gotten this little amp, and Ron showed up that night and helped me get set up, because I'd never really played a gig using this amp before, and I wasn't 100% sure about how to use the effects. And he showed up, he dialed my stuff in for me. I mean, so that it was that kind of, you know, thing. He went above and beyond the call of duty. That really resonated with me, and that's something I try to keep in mind as a teacher myself.
Well, I want to go to that. Now you are the, I'd like to say, co-owner of String Theory Music School.
Yeah,
Is that how you call it?
String Theory School of Music.
String Theory School of Music. Tell us a little bit about that, and where people can find that, and where you are, and tell us about its concept and when it started.
Okay.
And maybe you want to talk a little bit about your co-owner for a minute.
I certainly will. So back around 2006 or 7, you know, Amy and I, my wife, who is the co-owner of String Theory, you know, had been talking about this idea of doing something collaborative. She is a high school teacher. She teaches at Grasso Technical High School in Groton. Right now she's a social studies teacher. But she had a love of music, and of course, you know, that's all I had been doing for many years, but working for other people. I worked at Ron's. I I worked for Thames Valley Music School, and I taught privately out of my place. And but I wanted to do something a little more expansive, than just the half hour or hour private lesson. And she really wanted to do something where she could, bring to bear some of her skill set as well, being somebody that had been in education, for many, many years. So, her being a professional educator and me, having this music career, locally, we decided to sort of pool our efforts and start a music school. And it started out in East Lyme. That was, like I said, 2007. And we found a basement space in East Lyme underneath the dentist's office. It had been vacant for a long time. The ceilings were falling in and everything. Yeah, it was great, but it was cheap,
Right.
So we went in there. We did a little renovation in there, and started the music school with me as the first teacher, and Amy, basically running the business side of the business.
Okay.
Having all of the experience she'd had, with administrative things, being an educator and so on and so forth, and just having a good mind for that.
Right.
Excuse me.
So then you moved along with that and took on some other teachers. Who is teaching for you now? And what do they teach?
Okay. Well, we did over the years, we built up our staff. The first person that we had on our staff was Josie.
Sorry. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Sorry.
You're popular. So the first person that we had on our staff was Josie Davis, who you know, and
Absolutely.
And she had met me through a mutual friend, and actually she hired me to play a gig with her, and so that's how we started our friendship. And after I opened the music school, I asked her if she'd be interested in teaching. So that's how the staff started.
Okay.
Josie was the first person there. She still teaches with us.
Yes, she does.
And over the years, we've had many people come and go. She's always been there. I really love our staff that we have right now. We have her. We have Rufus Davis.
I love him.
Rufus is a monster player.
Monster player and an exorbitant big personality.
Yeah,
he's just great.
Yeah, he's a very, very close friend. Somebody who I have a tremendous amount of respect for as a person and as a player, of course. And so he's been with us for quite a while. We have some new staff members this year. Benny Velasquez, who, if you don't know him, is just a monster bass player. He specializes in Latin music, but he's sort of a multifaceted musician. He also plays piano very, very well and guitar, and arranges and produces as well. Nice. So I feel very fortunate to have Ben on the staff. We play together in a group called the Latin Essence Quartet, and another new teacher and new friend, Miguel Rios. He's a drummer and percussionist, and if you've ever seen anybody play congas, you can appreciate sort of the effort and the technique and the skill that goes into that. And
Absolutely.
We can play gigs with him just playing that instrument. It just sounds so full and moves the music. You don't miss a drum set at all.
Right.
Who else? Jessica Mancuso is a new staff member. She's wonderful. She's just a frighteningly talented individual. I met her when her band was rehearsing at our place, and we got to talking about music and guitar and stuff.
Okay.
First time I saw her play anything was a piano, and her piano playing was extraordinary. And she said, "I also play the guitar." So we sat down and pass a guitar back and forth for like an hour and a half, or showing me things that she could play, which was just mind-blowing. You know,
That's wonderful.
She also plays the violin. She also teaches voice.
Great.
And so she's somebody that, you know, we're very, very fortunate to have on our staff. And she's great with people, you know, as well. You know, she's a wonderful teacher.
So where do people need to go to find the school and to get involved if they want to take lessons? And do you only teach children?
No. In fact, I would say that half of our student population is adults and half are kids.
Okay.
And that's been a major shift over the last several years. And I think that's sort of, you know, a trending change in sort of music education, because we're seeing a lot of people that, you know, maybe have had families and careers, maybe given their kids lessons for decades, and they've always wanted to play. And so we have a lot of adult students. They're doing private lessons, but we also have groups.
Okay. Where can people find you? We have to wrap things
Okay.
up, so I want to get everything in.
Stringtheoryschoolofmusic.com. That's our web address, and
Okay.
we are at 96 Hawthorne Drive in New London.
Nice.
We occupy the former Little Red Schoolhouse, which is a City of New London public school building.
Right.
That was built in the early 70s, and we did a major renovation on it, and we're working with the city, and we're very fortunate to be there, and the City of New London has just been amazing, helping us get in there and move our business from East Lyme to New London.
Well, we're really glad to have you here in New London. You have some upcoming gigs, including tomorrow afternoon. You're at the Stonehouse with Johnny Bruce.
Well, Sunday.
Yes, that will be tomorrow. Tonight we're airing is Saturday night.
Right on. Okay.
So, where else are you playing after tomorrow, which is Sunday?
I have a blues rock band called the Chris Lee Band.
Yep.
And we are playing at the Knickerbocker Cafe on Wednesday from 7:30 to 10.
Nice.
And we're there almost once a month, I would say. There's a Wednesday dance thing that they do there.
Okay.
And we enjoy doing that.
Nice.
And that band includes myself, Rufus.
Yep.
Also Bob Christina, who you know.
Bobby Christina, yeah,
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep, and Tommy Reed. And
Nice.
so we're there. And also, I'd be remiss to not mention another staff member we had added this year, Tony Brennan. I don't know if you know Tony.
No, I don't think I do.
Very wonderful guitarist, singer. He's kind of a local legend around here. And he's also on our staff at String Theory.
Wonderful. All right, well, we've come to the end of the time that I have. I could talk with you for hours, you know that. I have so much more I could ask you, but I want you to let our audience hear what you do one more time so that they'll remember you.
Okay.
Take us out with the song. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in to Grandma's Attic Music Review. There's some wonderful things coming up. The Hygienic Salon d'Independence is coming up at the end of the month of January. If you want to put a piece in that, it's not judged, it's not juried. You can be there. Anybody can put a piece in. It's, I think that's the 26th. I'm almost positive, but you can go to hygienic.org to find that out. Make sure you check out your local mom and pop shops. And here to take us out is Chris Lee.